is Lynn Ann Moon from Dimensions of Spirit, and you're listening to the Hazy Radio Network.
You are listening to Supersensory Psychics.
And we're back.
You are listening to Supersensory Psychics on the Hazy Radio Network. I am Ravenne Wadeson.
And I'm Dog's Body Rob.
And we have Grandpaw Peter here with us. So, Grandpaw is just going to spend the next 20 minutes or so that's left of the show talking about the changes that are occurring relationship-wise and spiritually.
Hey, just right now on my clock here, it's 3:33 p.m. That's the eternal number, goes on forever. So just remember, life goes on forever. We don't really have anything to worry about, because whatever anomalies are here, I mean, we got all the time that ever there was, and we'll get them worked out. So nothing to worry about. But 2014, and, you know, this talk about polyamory and so forth, is meaning an end to restriction in our life. You know, we're moving into a place where every restriction that we've established, all the structure that we've established in the society, is being challenged and replaced, changed. All of it. So what I'm saying is to be open and receptive. To not accept anything as absolute, because just about the time you do, it's disproven. It'll go away from you. I know a lot of you cling tightly to religious beliefs. You got to understand the warpage contained in those, and you're going to see it. You're going to see the uglier side of it. You know, those beings that have sought to destroy you and take your life away and contain it and feed on you energetically because you're a spiritual and devoted person. You know, and there's no real harm in that, but you're going to see that you have been hoodwinked, that you have been taken and used. And, you know, with what we know of as normal human characteristics, we'd be quite angry when we came to a place like that. But you're not going to be. Because you understand now, because we're on the ascendant path, because humanity is opening its heart and waking up, then the necessity for anger over these things goes out the window. When you see it, you'll be able to accept it because your mind will have expanded far enough into the heart consciousness to be able to receive of it on that level. And then you can move on and go and see what other purposes you've been truthfully serving. In your life, at all times, always ask yourself this question: is it serving the higher good of all? You know, that happens in us all automatically, but do it a little bit consciously until you see the automated side of it, until it is in place in you, and then you'll never again make a move in your life that's destructive to yourself or anyone else or harmful in any way. You know, that's another way to tune into your heart consciousness. Does it serve the higher good? You see the mess in the world around you today. You know, the aberrant government, the insane forces. I mean, even in our neighborhoods, the little gangsters and so forth that don't have any... it's such a sad thing. None of this would be in place if the people before had asked themselves, does this serve the higher good of all? You know? And really all that does is acknowledge that you care. And in caring, you acknowledge that you feel a connection with all life. That you're not isolated and separate from anyone. That every being is in some way a part of the makeup you call yourself. And that every self that you meet is made up the same way. You know, we are so interconnected. But yet we have erected a whole structure to keep ourselves separate and apart from one another. Well, you better be ready for a severe change in that area, because you're about to get intimate with the entire planetary realm, and then the beings beyond that. I mean, it's real simple. In order for those beings to make their appearance, our star family to come home, we have to be open. We have to be in our heart and receptive and ready for that reunion. We have to create our own reunion, and that brings the other one in with it. You know, remember about the harmonic vibrations being in tune with one another. When that comes to that place where our harmony matches theirs, we're together. And it seems natural as rain does right now. And by the way, the thing we know of as weather, this year will go out the window. We no longer will find that necessary. We have other means of dealing with our requirements. This is part of how we disassemble the economic structure around us by taking the heart out of it. You know, it's hard, it's dark heart, and actually bringing the power back to the people so they're no longer subservient to an economic system. So when I talk about people being able and free to choose what they're going to do as quote a career, what they're going to do in the moment they're living right now as far as service to humanity, when I talk about people being free to do that, that's what I'm talking about, is letting go of all of the structure that we've known, all of the requirements. We're moving into a much more enlightened place. I'm not sure exactly even still what role money will play in that, or whether it'll even still exist. I know its existence won't be for much longer, because most of us have seen through it. We just don't see an alternative. Well, there are alternatives. And it begins by asking yourself this question. Every time you go to make a move, does it serve the higher good? Now, you may not remember that every time, but it becomes automatic. And it acknowledges your connection with the greater life, our connection with the greater life. And we move more closely together that way. It's going to take some doing, because we've really been you wouldn't believe this little community I live in. There's spiritual centers here. There's some very enlightened beings living here, and yet most of them are isolated and alone. You know, it's the strangest thing, you know. And I tend to do that in the winter because it's too darn cold to get out and move around. But, you know, yet we sit here and feel one another. And there is a special essence here in the energy of the place and in the energy of the people that it draws to it. And these folks are going to be coming out of their shells soon. We're going to set the example here in Crestone, Colorado, as to how to open your heart. Now, these people sitting here in Crestone listening to me right now may not believe that, because it seems pretty far-fetched. But here it comes. It's a different time. We literally turned a corner last evening and put the past behind us. So now here I am talking about let go of the restrictions that contain you. What I'm saying is, let yourself be free to follow the heart. And don't let anything else or anyone else tell you how to live. You know, it takes some adjustment. So don't go throwing the baby out with the bathwater. Be practical. But move into this as quickly as it's offered to you. Accept, accept, accept. That's all Spirit ever asks of us. And it's the only real choice anyone ever has, is accept, accept, accept. Can you accept the spiritual perspective? Can you live it? Can you live in your heart? Can you serve the higher good in all that you do? Or understand that you are serving the higher good in all that you do? You know, baby, that's freedom when you get to that place. That's why I can sit here and love everybody. You know, I mean, with the most sincere heart you ever saw. Doesn't mean I'm going to go out there and, you know, perform all kinds of whatever for you. Just means I love you, babies, you know, and I can feel it, and I can experience that, and I can experience that close connection with anybody on this earth, sitting here at my computer or meeting you face to face. Doesn't really matter. I can do that. You can do it. If I can do it, you can do it. I'm a lame little loser. You know, you wouldn't believe how bad this life beat me up when I was young, you know, and all through the years. But look at me now. The losing's out the window, and we're gaining ground. People like myself, spiritual people, people that are willing to just put it out there and let it be what it is, are becoming acceptable now. Whereas before, we were fringe lunatics and not to be listened to, you know.
Oh, yeah.
It's a time of a great change, baby. So just be, you know, be willing to challenge the most basic structures inside of yourself and life. And that includes this great urge for coupling. You know, I'm not saying that it's wrong or that you shouldn't do it. I'm just saying, let that be a basis. If it comes to you in that way, don't live it the way it's been prescribed to you. Live it the way the heart prescribes. Let it lead. Connect energetically. I mean, you know, keep yourselves 3,000 miles apart for a bit. Connect energetically. You know what I mean? Take it a step at a time. Let the heart lead you, you know? And you'll be amazed how quickly and how simply things fall in. The most impossible things. Now, this is one thing I've learned. By pushing and shoving, I've learned not to push and shove. You know, or by letting life shove me. You know, throw something right in my face I didn't expect. It comes. Sometimes you learn the hard way. Sometimes it's better to say no, because you got to listen to your heart. And if the heart says no, don't go there. You know, sometimes I can be so... I like to see people happy. I try to give them what they want. You know what I mean? And boy, it's something I've had to learn. It's just the opposite, not to be so giving, you know, that I obliterate myself in the process, or I create all kinds of difficulties for myself in the process, you know? When you love somebody and you recognize it, it's difficult to not want to give them the whole earth, the moon, the stars, and everything they freaking think they want, you know? It's hard not to do that. But if you love them enough to be loving to yourself, you're only going to give, you're only going to do what's good for everybody, you know? You're not going to lay down and take it, you know? You're going to stand your ground when you need to, you know, but you're going to do it lovingly, which means respectfully, you know, to one another. That's the greatest element's been missing in this life for the longest of time. And the thing I see shrinking away from society as it panics, as its systems start to fail, is the lack of respect for one another. You know, you see it a lot in traffic, you see it a lot in business. You know, the devil may care attitude. I got mine, now you go get yours somewhere else. I'm taking what I can, you know. Stuff like those kind of attitudes, you know. Dealt with them since I was a little kid. But those are the very ones that won't work anymore, you know. Those are the ones that are going to be let go of one way or the other. So don't let that stuff dissuade you from being who you are. Just understand the influence that you have as an individual being in this world, as a tiny particle in the center of the universe. You can influence everything because everything's in you. And if you can just find some peaceful comfort in yourself, you're going to find yourself living an expansive life that's going to take you places you couldn't even dream of 2 days ago, let alone in the present time. You know, we're making that kind of moves this year. It's time for us to move ahead. But let the heart lead. You know, be in that place. Don't let anything restrict you. And see the power in yourself. How powerful you do become. And this will put away any insecurities you've ever, any fears you've ever had. It's not about physical strength anymore. It's not about who has the biggest guns or the most powerful weapons or the beams, or it's not about political power. It's about the power of the heart to change things. About Mighty Mouse, you know, not even having a roar, just give one look at the president and the president resigns. You know what I mean? Etc. You know what I mean? We have the ability to influence everything in our life very creatively from the heart. Forestall and put away any violence, any violent inclinations in anybody around us. In other words, if you want to live forever, if you really want to love forever, because that's what living is, then be at peace in yourself, have respect for yourself, and do what's beneficial for others, no matter what it takes. You know, give what your heart requires. Let go of the idea that you have to gain from something in order to give. You know, it doesn't work that way. That's the old way. You can't measure value. Value is what's in your heart. And it doesn't exist any other place. You know, respect yourself. You'll find yourself respecting others. You'll find that value. You'll find that heart of gold inside of yourself, because everybody has it. The darkest human being's got the brightest heart. That's how it works here, you know. And so awakening is just seeing that. Seeing past the lies and illusions we've used to train ourselves into our baby godhood, that kind of thing. So when we talk about close and intimate connections with all the beings around you, starting with your spirit family, that's our natural way of being. And no longer are these parts isolated from us and shunted off into the bedroom. and made to feel like something nasty, you know? It happens in a far more natural way, and everyone's involved. It's not just one person on one person any longer. It's many beings participating with many beings. It's a different state of being entirely, you know? And it's not the old orgiastic things, but it's similar. It's close in a way, because we make those, the kind of things those connections suggest are the very connections we make energetically as we begin to reassemble with our spirit family, and then in the greater sense with our greater family, which is humanity, and then in the greater sense with everything else it is, because that's our bigger family too. We are what we are, and we do what we do. We live as we live, because we are what we are. And we've made some choices that have taken us to some really dark places in order to see the beauty inside of ourselves, to see how honorable we could still be even in our darkness, how darkness could bring nobility forward, how we could protect and serve one another, love one another, care for one another in the most distraught of times, let alone the most abundant. You know, we've all experienced our coldness, our darkness. We've all done it, as you've said before. We've lived as murderers, and we've lived as saints, and everything in between. You know what I mean? We've done the worst, we've done the best. It just makes us what we are. You know, and on that basis, if you could even remember elements of your past lives, which you will, you'll start to remember, and if you haven't seen them already, it'll help you understand your behaviors in the now, why you have some attitudes that seem completely unexplainable. And then those attitudes will change, because you'll see how programmed you are. You will understand the instant response, how you instantly categorize a person based on past life experience. Subconsciously, of course. Now, consciously, so you can change.
I think we've got one last question from Dan.
All right.
Okay. Did Grandpa once talk about waking up after a few days' sleep, and then we were in a new paradigm?
Yeah, that's one of the scenarios I've seen that's entirely a possibility. It could happen this year. Is that once certain beings have gone far enough with this, then it's open to all of humanity. And rather going through an agonizing and slow change, where everybody has to get it element by element, then we just all of us go to sleep pretty much across the earth one night. And when we awaken in the morning, we awaken with completely different memories, and we live in a world of wonder and love, as I've been describing. So really, all we're doing here, talking about it, is putting that energy out there and helping it happen, you know? We're just doing what we're here to do, because it's our inevitable acceptance. It's our inevitable inheritance. It's graduation. You know, we've gone to grade school, and we've gone to high school now, and, you know, now we're ready to move on to, you know, college, you know, in a sense, but we're really not going back to school. We're going back to life. Because this has been the school. This has been where we've learned the worst and the best of ourselves, and we've learned how to appreciate and love the worst things as well as the best. I love it here. It's crazy, and I've had a hard life, but I love it here. I love every bit of it, you know, and I always have all through my life. You know, even when I was in my most depressed places, and I'd be depressed for years, I still love it here. I still find it a very worthy and beautiful journey, even in those times. That's how I made it through, you know what I mean? Somehow I never gave up on that, you know?
Okay.
Okay, so we are just about out of time now. So thank you, Grandpa, for doing this second show with us.
Oh, I love you guys. I really appreciate, you know, you guys providing the platform and being so cool about it. You open hearts are welcome all across this. So you guys will find many doors opening for you now. It's that big of a change. I see some really good things happening for you too. I see some incredible assemblages going on around yourselves. I don't think you're going to have to worry about how you're going to live too much longer. You know what I mean?
Fantastic, that's exactly what we needed to hear right now. We're at the point.
Yeah, well, I see nothing but blessings coming your way. I really do. Good ones.
Oh, lovely, thank you.
It's a real expansive openings. It's time.
Okay, so people that missed the last show, you have very kindly uploaded it onto YouTube, so people can Google it or search on YouTube for us. Are you going to be putting this one on as well?
Yeah, sure, you betcha. Let's put this one up too. You bet.
Yeah, so anybody that doesn't get to listen to the live show can always search us out and have a listen, or if they have listened but want to hear again.
Yep,
Indeed.
and
Yep.
it's a worthy of another listen too. You know, I always check them out again if I have the time. Just I like to know what I said.
Yeah, I mean, some people can't join us for the full 2 hours, so you know, it is good if they missed half the show or you know, joined us last minute. They can go there and catch up.
Yeah.
So just we haven't given your details out on this show. We did on the last one, but if you want to tell people how they can get in touch with you, that'd be really good.
Well, you can look me up on Facebook. Facebook. I'm Grandpaw Peter Koyote, P-A-W, and Coyote is always spelled with a K. And you can get me on YouTube. I've got a channel there, Peter.Coyote. Coyotes with a K again. Spirit Wind Organization, or SpiritWindProductions.org. Again, SpiritWindProductions.org. That's my website. I'm still working on that, baby, so if you don't find what you're looking for there, keep coming back and checking. And then there's my little book, The Atomic Bum, B-U-M, like your backside. That's available on Amazon and book retailers worldwide, as well as Kindle. You can even order it through your local bookstore. You might get lucky and find one that stocks it, but they're few and far between.
Well, I actually had a look, and it is on Amazon over here in the UK.
Oh yeah, it should be available worldwide. It's on their international market and so forth.
Cool.
So it should be available worldwide. Both through Amazon, Barnes & Noble, all those outfits should have it. So. And it's by Coyote Bear. Don't look for Grandpa Coyote. It's I wrote that one under a pen name, so I used my full last name, Coyote Bear, as two names, and that's the author's name. I did it under a pen name so I could disassociate myself a bit from the life, you know, so nobody would know it was me.
Okay, so just like to thank all the listeners for tuning in again, and for the people that have been in the chat room asking questions and joining in.
Yep. And we'll
Hey,
see you all.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks. When are we on again?
We are on again on the 5th of January, I believe.
Okay.
I've totally lost track of the days since the festive season.
I think we're a Wednesday today.
We're Wednesday now, so it will be Sunday that we're on air again.
Okay. Cool.
Well, Happy New Year, everybody, and thanks again, you guys. We love you.
No props. Right. Okay. See you when we do. Ta-da.